Alrighty, welcome to our YouTube channel, guys. This one's called Hoody, Nuffies, and my name's Damien, and this is Ashton.
Ash, yeah.
What's your name?
Ashton.
Ashton.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my son. Father-son duo down in Australia. We are talking all things AFL, which is Australian Rules Football. If you haven't heard of it, it's an absolute ripping game. Far better than all the other games that consider themselves football around the world. Happy to debate that one as well. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree.
Do you prefer soccer or AFL footy?
AFL footy.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you can't tell, we're Geelong Cats Nuffies, which is one of the teams in the 18-team competition in the AFL.
One of the oldest teams.
One of the oldest teams, that's right. Yep, 1859.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But we try and remain as unbiased as possible. We love watching all footy. Friday night's usually a special night for us. We stay up late and watch one of the games.
If not Saturday night, we'll watch it.
Yeah, depending on who's playing. But yeah, happy. We love watching the footy. It's grouse. We like analysing the teams and how they're performing. Hence why we wanted to start a little YouTube channel / podcast where we could discuss what's happening in the news in the world of footy. Who we think perhaps are under the pump, any injuries, any changes to lists and things, and then also incorporating some things like skills sessions as well down the local footy ground and maybe some trick shots and having a bit of fun with that. Perhaps a bit of one-on-one as well. Ashley fancies himself.
No.
No?
Well,
You don't fancy yourself?
No, maybe I do.
You do fancy yourself? Yeah?
No, I don't. No.
You don't?
I do.
Alrighty, anyway, we'll kick things off. This is episode 1. Please, if you are willing to follow along, share the channel, like the page, like the YouTube, subscribe, whatever it is. Did I get it all right?
Yeah.
Subscribe, like the channel.
Yeah.
What do you say? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Is that what they say? That's what they say, is it? No. Anyway, well, we won't be doing that. That's not for us. We'll leave that for someone else. All right, let's kick off. We're going to talk about what's in the news at the moment. You would have seen, if you're an AFL follower, Christian Petrarca post-game, quite distraught, wasn't he, after the mighty Pussycats gave him a bit of a beating down at Kardinia Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a bit distraught. What do you think about that? How did that make you feel when you saw him? He threw his mouth guard and he sort of, had the jumper over his face. He was perhaps some media commentators suggesting he had some tears there as well, which I'm not quite sure if I saw any tears. But how does that make you feel when you think about that?
I would say because they've lost a lot of games, haven't won, and they're such a successful club. And yeah, you would just think they should be going much better. Yeah,
hence probably why he was feeling so much frustration as well, is that he probably thinks that they should be travelling a hell of a lot better than they are as well. Some people saying that he shouldn't be doing that on the field. It's not a good look for his teammates.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, I probably would, even though it's AFL. It's okay to get a little bit mad.
That's right, because these guys, they want to win premierships and games, don't they? They don't want to lose. And I didn't think it was necessarily a thing about being a bad loser, which perhaps some people might view it as being a bad loser, but I didn't see it as that. He was just upset.
Yeah, just upset with his team.
Yeah, exactly, and the way they're playing. And look, to be fair, they've got injuries, they've got people that are missing,
And they've got a lot of debutants.
Yeah, they have 5 or 6 new players this year, haven't they, for their club? So that's massive. But anyway, I wanted to touch on that because some people see that as maybe perhaps a form of weakness, or
a good thing.
Or a good thing, and the other thing is people see it as not a good look for him and his club. But I totally disagree with that. So I think I actually saw the passion, and I love that passion from footy players. It shows you that it actually cares. It's not just a paycheck from week to week. They actually care about the result of the game. Yeah. So I like that. All right, let's move on. Oscar Allen. Oscar Allen's a West Coast captain, for those of you that don't know it. And some stage, either last week or over the pre-season, he's met up with a member of the Hawthorn Football Club. And the whispers are that it was Hawthorn coach Sam Mitchell, and they met up. Who knows what they were talking about, but obviously the rumours are that, he's looking for a potential trade at the end of the year. And I suppose the discussion point around this is, should players be allowed to meet with opposition coaches or staff or recruiters throughout the season? Is it a good look for the game, or is it a bad look for the game?
Well, I reckon it's a good look for him to change.
Because West Coast are losing and Hawthorn are winning.
Yeah,
No, and I get that because and we'll talk about West Coast later on in the episode because they're an absolute basket case at the moment. But what I'm suggesting, or I'm trying to establish, should players be meeting with opposition coaching staff or recruiters mid-season to talk about potential trades, or should they be waiting till the end of the year?
I think.
You're from the new school of thought. You don't mind it?
Yeah.
You you don't mind. It's very much like American football, and even soccer. They have trade windows and stuff, which are long trade windows. Whereas in the AFL, we're so used to just trade season being at the end of the season, and now they've recently brought in the mid-season draft or the mid-year draft. But players talking to opposition coaches and stuff, it's a new phenomenon, and I suppose it's probably still. I would think it's probably still frowned upon at the moment, mid-season. Is that my opinion? Oh, no, I don't know. I mean, if there's a good player that wants to come down to the Cattery, I think we should start talking to him now and get him down. But
like Clayton Oliver.
yeah, exactly. But I suppose the only problem is if it's one of the Cats players talking to another club, maybe then we might have a different opinion on it.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on from that. Let us know in the comments below what your thoughts on that. But the next point is Jack Higgins. So Jack Higgins was quizzed after the game. Was that on Sunday they played?
Yeah, they played on Sunday.
Sunday, yeah, against Port Adelaide. And we'll talk about that one later too.
Oh, yeah.
But Jack Higgins, he made a comment to one of the on-field reporters after the game, and it was they said to him, "What do you think about Adelaide?" And I think he said, "Oh, it's rubbish. I can't stand this city," sort of thing. Yeah, not so much, but he more or less just sort of said it's not a great city. I don't really like it. And then there's been a bit of uproar from that people are getting upset that he's gone and said that about a city, and perhaps he shouldn't say that. But I look at this and it's funny because they say players should show more emotion or perhaps a bit more humour or be a bit more light-hearted. But then when they do it, people come and can them and say, well, he shouldn't have said that about the city.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. You got anything else to add to that?
No.
Do you think players should be able to, say, voice their thoughts and have a bit more of an opinion about things? Or should they be... Yeah. Yeah, well, I think most people you speak to would probably say that, but it's almost as if the clubs want them to be like robots and or perhaps not have any thoughts or opinions outside of whatever the club bubble might be. So that was an interesting thing. If you haven't been to Adelaide, I don't think it's too bad a place. We went there last year, didn't we, for Gather Round? Yeah. It was all right, wasn't it?
It was good.
Had a good pub feed.
Yeah.
The Footy Festival. They do call it the City of Churches for those of you that don't know, but apparently there's lots of churches there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. All right, what's next?
Will Day.
Will Day.
Surgery and so on.
Is he a good footballer?
Yeah.
You like him?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's out for a little while now.
I know.
Yeah, months, potentially a couple of months.
Yeah.
Potentially until after round 15 bye that Hawthorn have, apparently.
Yeah, but the seasons are out for that. The fixtures.
Oh, no, well, it's not. The fixture's out, but the actual dates and the times that they're playing isn't out, which is true. But, so he's going in to have surgery on a troublesome foot/ankle that he had a bit of trouble with last year when he missed the first few rounds of the season. And that's a huge thing because Hawthorn have been absolutely flying this year. But now...
Will Day's out, it could just change.
Just be a little unsettling. They're heading across to Port Adelaide this week, which is a massive rematch of the semi-final from last year.
But we'll talk about that later.
That's right, we will come back to that one. But yeah, Will Day to be missing will be really interesting. Being a Cats person, we have a bit of not even a love-hate relationship with Hawthorn. It's more of a hate-hate relationship. They've caused us some grief over the years, beating us in a couple of different premierships.
Yeah, but they've beaten sometimes, like Easter Monday.
Oh, yeah, but
they usually beat us in the premiership.
Yeah, when it counts. Some will say they'll beat us when it counts. But you can't help but admire their team at the moment, can you? Yeah. Like the way they play the game. They're flashy, they're fast, and they actually do have some of those characters of the game like Ginnivan, and the Wizard Watson, blokes that actually show a bit of emotion, a bit of flair, a bit of humour. So they are good to watch. So maybe it's a love-hate relationship. We'll see. It could be it could move back towards the hate-hate relationship if they knock us off in the finals or something. But remember, we did say at the start we're going to stay unbiased, aren't we? So we're going to be as fair as possible. Now let's move on to Under the Pump. Under the Pump is a segment we're going to look at. Well, yeah, they're Under the Pump. They're the first ones on the Under the Pump. So this segment we're going to look at each week because one, it's a bit of fun and it might ruffle some feathers, which is okay. It's a talking point.
It's not Geelong.
Wow, yeah, two. That's a big thing. It's not Geelong at the moment, but that could change. But let's start Under the Pump. You go first, Ashy. Who's on?
Carlton and Bossy.
Carlton and Bossy. Where are they sitting at the moment?
Well, they're probably
wins and losses.
Oh, well, that I would say they would need if they lost another 4 games out of the next 6. It's going to be hard for them to come good.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Have you heard the joke?
What?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
0.
0 who?
0 and 4. Did I say that right?
0 and 4.
Oh no! Go again. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Owen.
Owen who?
0 and 4. That's because they're 0 and 4. I absolutely butchered that one, so I'm not going to edit it because I don't know how to edit. So that'll be
no, but it's funny.
Well, it is funny.
Yeah,
no, Carlton and Bossy, big trouble, aren't they?
Yeah.
Big trouble at the moment. Now, keep in mind, Brisbane come back. What were they? Were they 0 and 4 last year? Or was it 0 and 3? They lost to Collingwood, didn't they? And then they went 0 and 4.
Because that was the decider.
That
was a decider who went 0 and 4.
Yeah, that's right. So Brisbane come back from 0 and 4 last year and won the premiership. But they did have to do it the hard way. I think, did they come from 5th position on the ladder at the start of the finals?
Well,
so they had to play 4 games in a row?
Yeah, they had to play 4 in a row.
Yeah.
And the first was at the Gabba against the Blues and they won that game. But then next at the semi-final, they had to come back by, I don't know, 8 goals.
Yeah, against the Giants. But they were on the road each game after that first final, weren't they? They were in New South Wales, then in Melbourne for the prelim, Melbourne for the grannies. So that they did it the hard way, but they did it, and it can be done. But it just makes things really tough, doesn't it? So Carlton are really under the pump. One thing I find funny about Carlton is everyone talks about this list that they have. They've got this great list, and I don't know if they do. They've got like 4 or 5 guns, but beyond that, is their list great?
Well,
the Carlton supporters are going to tell you it is.
But if you're another team supporter, you just say, don't know.
You could pick it apart. And Vossi, well, he's the coach, so the buck stops with the coach. And I think is this his 3rd season? 3rd or 4th season?
Yeah.
2022, 23, 24. This is his 4th season.
Is it?
So, yeah, he's got to get them to finals, but they need to go beyond just the first final. But that's our opinion. Next one, under the pump, North and Alistair Clarkson, or Clarko.
Oh, one thing about Clarko, I would say he should be a bit better than this because he's getting them older. LDU's older, 1 year older. Sheezel's older.
Yeah.
And he wants.
Is it McKercher?
Yeah, he's 1 year older.
Yeah.
And he wants Coach Hawthorn to a successful
era of footy, and he actually took Hawthorn from 2005 when they were a bit of a basket case. I think they recruited Lance Franklin and Jared Roughhead and Jordan Lewis. So they got these guys in the draft anyway, and he turned that club around, which was great for them, winning 4 premierships over. I think he was there for 17 years or something. But yeah, North. I'm putting North in under the pump this week because I just think that they need to be showing signs of growth.
Yeah, and then that Sydney game, well, they probably should have lost by about 5 goals, not 10.
Well, that's right. And, people talk about honourable losses and things like that. Well, an 8 or 9 or 10 goal loss, it's not honourable anymore. Sydney had Errol Golding out. They had some changes in their side as well and a couple of younger guys. I think North need to be showing a bit more, hence why they're under the pump.
Yeah.
But, you've got to give them time. Those guys are young, like Sheezel and some of the other blokes there. But, they need to start. They need to be in the contest for longer.
Because they got 4 guns. They got
and they've got
well in the trade period.
That's right. They got a reasonable side, but they need to be competitive for longer.
Yeah.
It can't be over at half time. They need to take it deep into the fourth quarter, and if they get done, well, at least they got there close. But right next under the pump is West Coast, and again, I know West Coast is rebuilding. I know, but they recruited reasonably well in the off season. They've had a couple of injuries to start the year, which doesn't help. But
and they lost Darling too.
Yeah, look, is he past it? Is he not? I'm not too sure. But yeah, they did lose him, which doesn't help.
Hurts.
It does hurt. It does. The one thing I think with West Coast is similar to North. Their losses, they're just they're not competitive, and I think their supporters would say, they just want them to be more competitive for longer in the games. It's not about winning 10 games this year for West Coast. I wouldn't have thought. It's just, can we take it to teams for longer? Can our young guys that are on the list show improvement and development?
And try and get the teams tired and just push with them and just stay with them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, it's not all about winning, but, as a supporter, you just want to see that your club's progressing. That's all I think. Next one, under the pump, the umpires with their poor calls. That cost
Gold
Adelaide.
Coast and Adelaide. That was just horrible.
And what makes it worse is Geelong have to play Adelaide this week. They're going to be pretty upset, aren't they?
Who?
Adelaide.
Yeah.
They cost the game by poor decisions there in the last 2.5 minutes of the game. So they're going to come out firing against our boys. And it's going to make a pretty tough challenge. But, to be the best, you got to beat the best. So we can't make any excuses for the Cats there. But, poor umpiring decisions.
Yeah, when Mac Andrew, who was it?
Riley Thilthorpe.
When he needed to.
I need it. And that's high free kick.
And then when Darcy Fogarty took a mark and.
No, that was Isaac Rankin, and then
he
got
punched.
got tackled by it. Yeah.
Yeah, but he holded it for long enough.
Oh yeah, it was a mark or it was a free kick. I would have thought, but poor calls. Now I thought at one point there, like the last 3 or 4 minutes, the game was getting really close, really tight, really good to watch. By the way, AFL, you should have scheduled that one for Saturday night because Saturday night's game, North Sydney, was an absolute fizzer. That was a real back of the eyelids, go to bed sort of operation. But those decisions. I thought at one stage they put the whistle away. I thought, they're not calling anything. They're putting the whistle away.
But then when that Adelaide free kick should have been paid.
Didn't get paid.
When it got down, when Gold Coast were kicking it down, they got like 5 free kicks in a row.
And I thought they were borderline free kicks.
Well, I thought they would have been, if they were all together and Adelaide's two just separate, they would have been, I think Adelaide's were better.
Yeah, they were. Together. That's right. I agree with that. I thought that Adelaide ones were more obvious.
Yeah.
So umpires, you bunch of umpires, you're under the pump. Now, the last one for under the pump, and then we'll move on to the highlights from the weekend, is Port Adelaide.
After St Kilda and Port Adelaide.
Yeah, St Kilda dismantled them at home. They come back and sort of got close, but you felt like the game was over. I mean, I think were we in the car and I called it.
Yeah.
I said, game over. It was like early in the second quarter.
Yeah, and then Port Adelaide sort of came back.
Yeah, that's right.
But then Saints kicked away again.
Yeah, that's right.
And it let them down to like the fourth quarter.
It was
to do everything.
It's probably a bit rich to call it game over in the second quarter, but I don't know. You just look at Port and you go, what's wrong with them? They've got some really talented players.
Yeah.
Their forward line's a bit lacking, like Georgiadis and some of these other blokes, but their midfield it'd have to be in the top. It'd have to be the top 5 midfields.
Yeah.
Is Butters? You got Butters, Rosie, Horn Francis,
and Wines, is he there?
Oh, they got Ollie Wines. Yeah, they lost Dan Houston, which hurts them. But he's not going to win them every game though. Dan Houston, he'll contribute significantly. But anyway, I think they're on the pump. They've got a coaching succession plan this year. So Ken he's finishing up at the end of the season, and Josh Carr's taking over. Just succession plans, they don't work very well.
I feel like Hinkley could stay a little bit because you reckon he could provide him to get like up there.
A bit of support to Josh Carr beyond this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon he's probably got an eye on the Tasmanian Devils when they come in 2028. I just wonder. Yeah, there's a couple of coaches might be circling around that.
Yeah.
That job, but yeah, I don't know. I just think. You look at some of the most recent coaching successions plans. For everyone's information, Ashley was born in 2017, so he's not probably aware of all of them, but the ones that come to mind for me are Nathan Buckley and Mick Malthouse in
I know them too.
2011.
I know.
I know you know it, but so they had a coaching succession plan. It was announced like at the start of 2011 that at the end of the year Mick will be stepping down and Nathan will be taking the reins. And hey, as it was, they went right to the grand final, and I mean,
Was that the draw?
no,
That was 2010.
that was no Geelong Collingwood when we knocked them off.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were right up in that game until the I don't know early on in the last quarter, and then Geelong started to kick away. But anyway, so that succession plan sort of worked, sort of didn't work. Well, it didn't beyond. I mean, Nathan, he got them back to a grand final, but some faithful Collingwood supporters will suggest that he cut their list.
Well, Nathan Buckley did well in his first season because he's played the game before.
Oh yeah, no, and he was a gun player. But then the next succession plan was Alistair Clarkson to Sam Mitchell at Hawthorn. That was just messy,
I know that.
I don't know them personally, but are they a couple of hotheads? I don't know. It was almost as if they didn't like each other at the end.
Yeah.
Anyway, that one didn't seem to go well. But this one here with Port Adelaide, I don't know. It looks like a dog's breakfast. Dog's breakfast, I should say. I think Koshy, the CEO or the president or whatever he is, I think he's got this grandiose idea of a really successful outcome from this. But you almost feel like it's time to pull the pin, and maybe not quite time, but mid-year if they're bottoming out, I'm sure they won't bottom out. But if they're having a real hard go of it by mid-year or the last third of the year, you could almost say, Kenny, just step aside. Josh, come on in, finish up for the season, get ready, get your players ready for next year. Beyond that, they're talking about Zach Butters perhaps moving on next year and coming back to a Victorian club. So
yeah,
I mean,
Chad Warner going to Perth too.
Oh yeah, well that's for Sydney. Yeah, and he could, but for Port, I just think jeepers, they could be in for a bit of pain the next couple of years. I don't know, but we'll see. Second last thing is looking at some highlights from the weekend, and we spoke about it earlier, but Saints and Jack Higgins there we spoke about, but Saints knocking off Port Adelaide.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the bigger highlights. I mean, the Adelaide Gold Coast game was probably the game of the round.
Yeah.
Carlton Collingwood was okay,
but Carlton didn't show much to that.
Nah, that's right, and it was wet. It was a bit miserable, but I thought the Saints knocking off Port Adelaide over in Adelaide was like a great result for them.
Top two probably.
Yeah, Saints are funny. I sort of didn't rate them much this season ahead of the season, but they're starting to win a few games. Yeah. They're well placed at the moment. It'll be interesting to see how they go this week against the Giants, which we'll touch on later on to round out the first episode. But yeah, I thought their list is really coming together really well. Yeah. Jack McRae's a new addition to the Saints, and I look at the Doggies and think, why did you get rid of Jack McRae? But he just, maybe it must have been something there. He was on the outer, he wasn't getting much of a go, so anyway, maybe he sought the trade. But
I like Bruce to Kennedy.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing, and he's obviously gone back to the Doggies. Well, not back to, but he's gone to the Doggies.
Well, now he's just gone.
Yeah, because he's getting more game time, isn't he? Yeah. He's probably rapt to be at Carlton though. At the Doggies, I'd imagine, because the Doggies are travelling okay,
and they needed someone like him.
Yeah, well, that's right. And when you can go somewhere and you need it, I mean, that's great. But yeah, Saints, I was really impressed by them. Hence, they were one of the highlights from the weekend. One that I haven't put in the show notes, but Ollie Dempsey's almost mark of the year. That was pretty impressive. Ollie, he was about 3 stories high. Needed to press the elevator to come down.
Oh.
Yeah. Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Just about. But he got close, but not close enough. But that bloke's going to win the car one day, isn't he?
Yeah.
Mark of the season. The next some of the highlights from the weekend, I thought was the Rising Star contenders.
Yeah, that's going to be big.
They're insane. Like, he's our man. And, we want him to win it, obviously.
Laylor.
But Laylor from Richmond, he's a gun. Ashcroft at Brisbane.
Really good. Well, how old is Ashcroft?
He's only like 19. His older brother Will's there, but Levi, he's 19 or something. First season, he's a gun. So some of the young talent, like I don't know what the pathways are like into the AFL these days, like in the state league under 18 competitions, but they must be pretty impressive because you've got players that are developing like really quickly, and they're getting to AFL level, like the top 10 blokes. I mean, beyond that, maybe some more from further up in the draft. But you're getting guys arrive to the AFL they're ready, mate.
Yeah.
They're ready to go out there and mix it with, you know, like full grown men that have been in the gym in the pre-seasons for 6, 7, 8 pre-seasons. Like these young kids are coming in and having an impact straight away. So it goes to show how important your draft picks are when you're selecting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but O'Sullivan, he's our man. But yeah, that was one of the other highlights. Is just these young guys that are really stepping into the game and just making the game their own. Right, last one for this first episode. We just want to look at what's to come. So gather around this week. We were hoping to attend, but it just hasn't fallen that way, so we won't be going, unfortunately.
But we did go last year, and it was a fun time.
Yeah, it was good. The weather was brilliant too, wasn't it?
Yeah, we went to a double header. Geelong, it went Carlton, Fremantle, and then Geelong.
Doggies. Yeah, and they were both good games too. I think the Carlton got up by like
Carlton,
8 points or a goal or something.
Well, they got up by a goal. They got up by 4 points, and then it was touched by, I don't know, Sam Doherty kicked it.
Yeah, who touched that? Was it Jordan Clark?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But the umpires didn't say, and then they were telling the umpires it wasn't touched, and they gave Carlton another free
that's
kick.
right, because last year that umpire dissent rule was massive. So if you spoke back to the umpire, like, was it right? Free kick, and and as it was free kick, and it was 50 metres, so they put him on the goal line. Was that Cottrell or someone? I don't know. Kennedy was it? Yeah, but yeah, gather around, awesome over in South Australia in Adelaide. So I think they have games at the Adelaide Oval, Mount Barker Oval, Norwood, and are they playing a game in the wine region, the Barossa this year? I think they are playing a game in the Barossa. But it's wonderful. They've got this festival of footy around the stadium, which is just insane. They got heaps of freebies and just activities for the kids, and it's a really good atmosphere, really good vibe. But yeah, if you're heading over there, we're a bit jealous. We'd like to be going as well. What else is there? Oh yeah, Guinea. Yeah, Jack Ginnivan flying over for the rematch against Port Adelaide. So Ginnivan, if you saw it last year in that semi-final, him and Ken Hinkley had some words, didn't they?
Yeah. And then James Sicily.
To
stand up for Ginnivan.
Yeah. So I feel like it'll be a reversal of the result this year. Would you say? Like Hawthorn will get it done this time?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is closing out the round at Sunday night, so it's going to be a great game to watch. I think a lot of the kids here in Australia are on school holidays now. Certainly in Victoria they are. Don't know about South Australia and New South Wales, but regardless, that probably starts next week if it hasn't already. So they'll be on school holidays, so you can stay up late and watch a great game of footy because it should be colourful. I reckon if Ginnivan kicks a goal, he's going to just get right up in their faces, I reckon. Yeah. You know he will. What else is there? Some of the other games, what's Carlton West Coast? So the battle of the cellar dwellers. Who's going to go 0-5 and who's going to get off the bottom?
West Coast could show you something, but then Carlton will probably want to win.
Oh, Carlton need to so bad. But imagine if West Coast get the job done. Oh, that would be an absolute cracker.
I hope they do.
Well, it'd be funny. We've got some family that one-eyed Carlton, so we want Carlton to win. Or I certainly do. But
then if West Coast win, it'll be a bit funny.
Oh, well, it's hard not to be funny. Yeah. Not if you're a Carlton supporter, it'd be horrible. But so that's going to be a cracker. Giants and Saints, which we just spoke about briefly, I think that's shaping to be the game of the round.
Well, maybe. Or Geelong Adelaide.
Yeah, Geelong Adelaide should be a big one. Carlton Sydney on the Friday night. Collingwood Sydney on the Friday night will be a big one. But Giants and St Kilda, like if Saints knock Giants off, they're pressing to be the real deal. Like you'd be hard pressed to say, they're just pretenders.
But then once they play against Hawthorn.
Oh well, that's what you got to play the best sides to know where you sit. But yeah, anyway, that'll be really interesting. And then, as Ashley said, the Cats and Adelaide, that kicks off gather around on Thursday night, which we're really excited about because we love the Cats, obviously, so we want to watch that one.
But holidays too, so we'll watch the whole game.
That's right. Are you nervous about that game?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, it was a good game last year when Geelong played Adelaide over there, wasn't it? Yeah, I think Tommy Hawkins kicked 4, did he, or 3?
Yeah, he kicked 4.
Yeah, but he's not there anymore, so we'll see. But that'll be a big game. Guys, that's just going to about do it. Geez, we're pressing about 30 minutes. We hope you stuck around. On YouTube, it's also going to go to podcasts as well. So if you can't stand looking at our ugly faces, you can listen to it on. Wait, you saying you got an ugly face?
No.
Nah.
I said yeah. No.
Yeah, me, not you. You got a good looking face.
Yeah,
I've got a bad looking
yeah.
face. All right. Yeah,
Just
fair enough.
beer.
Yeah, that's right. Now, if you want to listen to it on podcast as well whilst you're driving or on the train or whatever, do that please. Give us a 5-star review. That'd be nice as well, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
Hopefully, yeah.
Like and subscribe to our channel as well. Share it with your mates. Drop a comment. Give us some feedback. Be gentle on the feedback. This is our first time. It's a bit of a project we want to do together. Something we'll have forever. That'd be good.
Yeah, will be.
Yeah. We'll try and bring some guests on and things like that when we
Yeah.
can. And
Like our little sister and mum.
yeah, the old squidlet. Ready
Yeah.
to go, right? We'll see if we can find some other footy nuffy tragic that want to come on the episode. Try and get a nice diverse range of people on the episode, not just Geelong supporters, because that's not going to be fun for everyone. But that'll just about do it.
Yeah, what about like
Action. Over.
over?
Over.
Now.
Over.
Now.